Hi everyone, this is Noah Sandler from mtgoacademy.com. Today I'm going to be doing a DTK draft, so let's get started. Okay, so we've got Sunbringer's Touch, which I haven't played yet, but I think it's pretty good. It can let you win a game on turn 4. Sometimes you'll get 2 for 1, but I feel like enough times you're just going to win playing it, and it's not a very good late game, but I think that's pretty powerful. It's not a bomber or anything, so I wouldn't love to first pick it. There's a Tail Slash, Kulgan Forerunners, Survivalist, and Silumgar Sorcerer. Also Defeat, Gurmag Drowner. I honestly don't know what the pick is here. I think Tail Slash is reasonable. Touch is kind of high variance, so not too sure about that. Forerunners is nice also. Tail Slash is probably a better first pick than it, and then Sorcerer's also pretty nice. I mean, overall there's a lot of good cards in this pack. I don't really know which one's the best, but I think Red's pretty good in this format, so I think I'm going to take the Tail Slash. I think Sorcerer or Sunbringer's Touch is also fine, and maybe Forerunners is even better than Slash. Another Sunbringer's Touch, another Kulgan Forerunners, and a couple of decent green cards, Salt Road Ambushers. I think I can take the Forerunners here. Just try to be red. There's 3 pretty good green cards in this pack, so we're going to be passing a lot of green, and green is not too good in the third pack anyway. So yeah, just take the Forerunners, maybe do a dash deck, and could be red-green if green ends up being very open. So there's a Voltress Aven, Airy Bowmasters, Colossal Yearling, Coat with Venom, Gurmag Drowner. So I think this is kind of a tough pick between Aven and Bowmasters. Green does seem to be pretty open. This is only pick 3, so pack 2 we saw a lot of green, which is probably a signal that green's open. And here's a Bowmasters, so also sort of looks like green's open. There's Voltress Aven, and the Forerunners would go pretty well in a red-black dash deck, but we could also be red-green. Green does seem pretty open, so I think it's a pretty close pick. I'm not sure whether Aven or Bowmasters is actually the better card. It's still kind of early in the format, but seems like green is open. That's tough though, because we did pass a lot of green. I guess I'm going to take the Bowmasters. I think green's the place to be. Can still move into black if that ends up being more open. Alright, there's Dromoka's Gift, which I think is quite strong. Segmented Crotic, Defeat, and Dragon Fodder. So I think we take, also a Seismic Rupture, Enduring Victory. I think we take the Dromoka's Gift. Seems like green's open. This is kind of like Sunbringer's Touch. Like turn 5, you might be able to win a game. Just resolve it on any creature, and if they don't have a way to deal with it, you probably win. And because it's instant speed, you can get a card out of it, and your opponent has to deal with your smallest creature now. Let's become your biggest creature. So I think it's pretty strong. Seems like green's open, so let's go with that. And here there's a Guardian Shieldbearer, Glade Watcher, Sign of Ugin, Sabertooth Outrider, Inspiring Call. So red and green both seem pretty open. I've heard a lot of good things about Sabertooth Outrider. If we are red-green formidable, I think the card also gets stronger. You have a lot of high power creatures. I think Guardian Shieldbearer is pretty nice. I like Glade Watcher quite a bit as well. And if you're going for a really heavy counters theme, I think Inspiring Call can be pretty good. But we're going to take the Outrider. And here there's a Segmented Crotic, a couple decent white cards, and a Coat with Venom. No red, so we'll take the Crotic. Not quite Woolly Loxodon, but it's not that much worse. Some good white here. It's pretty late Kieran. But I think Kulgan Aspirant is pretty good too. So I can probably just stay in red-green, not have to give up all these red picks just to move into white at this point. But if you wanted to move into white for the Kieran, I think it'd be okay, because white's pretty strong in Fate Reforged, and it being open can maybe get past the Citadel Siege. But I'm just going to stick with red-green for now. And yeah, not much here. I think I'll just take Violet Dragonfire over Servant of the Scale. Okay, Sunbringer's Touch and Segmented Crotic both came back. So, between them, I mean, there might be another Sunbringer's Touch in the next pack. We already have Dromoka's Gift. I mean, I don't know, I'd want to have 3 of that effect. But it's kind of powerful. Yeah, I think I'll give it a shot. And Dragon Scarred Bear. There were a lot of good green cards in this pack, but that's still really nice to pick up this late. And gives us a nice target to put the Sunbreaker's Touch on. And we'll just hate Shambling Goblin here. And we got another Crotic over Conifer Strider. Strider, though, if you put Touch or Dromoka's Gift on, can be pretty insane. But I think they're easier to pick up late. And Crotic's just a more powerful card in general. I got Inspiring Call, have a couple things to work with that, but I don't think red-green is the best place to try to take advantage of it. So I'm probably not going to play it. So the first pack actually went pretty well. Red's not too open. Hopefully we cut it enough. We passed a little bit of good red, but we passed a lot of stuff in other colors. Oh, there's a Thunderbreak Regent, so red-green it is. And passing a Beastbreaker, Lightning Berserker, Sarkhan's Rage. But, you know, green was definitely the place to be. Had we moved into black, I think we would have gotten cut. I mean, there was some okay black coming through, but we would just have black-red at this point. I feel pretty unexcited about our deck at that point. So, moving into green, did seem like green was open at that time, and it was a little bit lucky that it ended up working out so well. So this is a great pack. There's a Tarka Pummeler, Sprinting Warbrute, and Stampeding Elkherd, which are all great. In a red-green formidable deck, I'm not actually sure which of these is the best. Pummeler and Elkherd are kind of similar. With a lot of creatures in play, they let you get through at the end. Elkherd starts a little bit bigger. And sometimes the Pummeler ability is going to be better than Trample. Then Warbrute is also strong, and comes out in turn 4. So it's kind of close. We've got a good number of 4-drops already, so maybe getting a 5-drop isn't that bad. But yeah, I don't know which is better. If we do take Elkherd, there's a better chance that we table one of the red cards, but I feel like red is a little bit overdrafted at the table, so I wouldn't expect either to come back. But I'm going to take the Elkherd, but not sure about that pick. We got a Roast here over Tarka Freed, Confrontation, Obscuring Aether. So yeah, we'll take the Roast. So it looks like we did cut red enough that we're getting some good red this pack. And Assault Formation. Also Storming Dragon, Crotic, and Herd Chaser Dragon. I think Assault Formation's pretty strong. It doesn't go well with red creatures. So, I mean, it could be a little bit of a liability. I mean, just the ability to pay 3 mana, basically give all your creatures +1/+1 is pretty good. And you can kind of build your deck around it a little bit, but I wouldn't want to do that too much. Since, I mean, if you're taking a bunch of picks specifically to play as Assault Formation and you don't draw it, then you kind of just wasted a bunch of picks on suboptimal cards. I mean, right now it makes all of our creatures a bit weaker. Pretty much, like Bowmasters gets bigger, so it doesn't seem really good. But I don't know, I've got a lot of big creatures. I'm not sure Storming Dragon or Crotic are that important, so I'm just gonna take the Assault Formation, and we'll see what happens. I might not play it at this point. We got a Scale Guard Sentinels, Warbringer, Guardian Shieldbearer, Tread Upon. Sentinels is pretty nice. If we do play Assault Formation, it gets a little bit of a bonus. We don't have any we have 1 dragon, so yep, that's nice. We'll just take that. Warbringer, we have 1 dash creature, probably aren't going to get too many more, so I'm not super interested in that, so we'll take the Sentinels. We've we've got another aspirant, display of dominance, press the advantage, artillerist. I think we want the press advantage, but it's a little close. I think we're going to end up with a good number of creatures. We've got 10 right now. I mean, press can be really nice in a deck like this. You get some nice 2-drops, nice 3-drops. Just curve out, start beating down, and then use this to press the advantage, right? We also have the Sunbringer's Touch and Dromica's Gift already, and you don't want to have too many cards that rely on having lots of creatures in play and attacking. Tail Slash is that way as well. So this is a little closer than it might look, but we're still going to take the press advantage and try to pick up some more 2-drops later. So we can take Herd Chaser Dragon here. We may or may not play it. It's a lot less exciting than the other dragons. I don't like Commune with Lava that much, and I don't think there's any way it would ever make the cut, considering that we already have a lot of playables, and I would expect Pack 3 to be really good for us as well. There's a Tormenting Voice. Sure. And I'll hate a Butcher's Glee. Pinion Feast, good sideboard card. Skewering Ether. Probably don't want to play it. It's sort of like a bear. Takes a little bit more work. Let's pick Charger. White is a bit underdrafted at the table. Got 3 Megamorphs so far, so actually 4. So maybe I could play Ether. There's a little extra value. So our curve's looking pretty good. These 6s are going to be in the 3 slot. I'd like to pick up a couple more 2-drops so we can start really aggressive just ahead of our opponents and then push through with these big pump spells. But other than that, deck's looking pretty strong. We got a few good removal spells. Our creatures are pretty large, a lot of ways to push through, and some pretty decent late game. So we'll take Goblin Heel Cutter here. Not much else here. Rage Form's okay. Probably not going to want to splash anything. So, yep. So we got Mardu Scout, Return to the Earth, Ugin's Construct. So kind of an interesting pick. I typically do like Construct quite a bit. I think it's not that hard to get around its ability. If you play it on turn 4, if you have a 2-drop, you can maybe trade it off and then play a Megamorph and Construct on turn 4. And sometimes, worst case, you have to sacrifice a 2-drop and you get a 4/5 for 4. So I think the card is generally pretty good. But we can also take Mardu Scout, which I do want to have 2-drops. It does give us double red and double green 2-drops, so it's just not the best, but you can also dash it on turn 2, so it still works okay. And Return to Earth is a pretty nice sideboard card that's also fine in the main. I think I'm going to take the Mardu Scout. We've got a good number of 4s already, and I think we just want to get some solid 2s. So Scout should be good. We'll take a Hunt the Weak here. Don't need another dragon. Anok Guide is it's an okay 2, but get some more removal. Seeing some more good white. White's definitely underdrafted at this table. There's a Jeskai Infiltrator. Looks like we might be getting cut. Pack 1 was pretty strong, but maybe we just let too much get through that someone moved in kind of late. Yeah, I don't really want any of these cards. I don't think we need another 4. Reclamation just doesn't do too much, so I think I'm just going to hate the Infiltrator. So we can take another 2-drop in the Efreet. Feral Crushhawk, a decent 5. Not super excited for either. Generally think Crushhawk's a better card. I don't think we need to splash any black with Jungle Hollow. Yeah, we also have this Assault formation I'll consider. I think I'll take the Crushhawk. And yeah, definitely getting cut at this point. Yeah, don't think we want any of these. The waste could be okay, but like we just have much better playables. I haven't actually played Friendly Fire. I feel like the card has potential. Certainly weaker. Well, I think it'd be weaker in Dragons. You don't have those ridiculous delve cards. I think if you play well, you can maybe put your opponent on having a big spell in hand. You wait till they play all their lands, and you could use it, but haven't actually tried it yet, so I'm going to hate... I don't know if Whisk Away or Right at Being would be worse, but actually I think Whisk Away would be worse, because we've got a few ways to pump our creatures, like getting our... the creature we use Sunbringer's Touch or Dromoka's Gift on, getting Whisk Away would be pretty bad. And we'll take an Anok Guide here over Mastodon. Just get another solid 2-drop. And yeah, definitely getting cut. Just hate a Jungle Hollow. I think we're going to play Pilgrim. Just hate Right at Being. It's okay to get cut at this point because we've got plenty of playables. And we'll take a Scoured Barrens. Got another guide. Anok Guides do work well with the Inspiring Call, so I will check this out, see if we end up with enough +1/+1 counters to run it. And also take a look at Assault formation. And yeah, that's about it. Currently have to make a couple cuts from this pile. So not going to play Formless Nurturing probably. It does get a little better with Inspiring Call. So we've got Hunt the Weak that puts counters. Bowmaster could get counters. I tend to just cast Bowmaster on turn 4 because you've got to pay an extra 5 mana total to give it 1/1/1 counter. And that's just a lot. Like 3 or 4 reach is pretty strong, so paying 5 mana to get an extra counter, I tend to just play it as a 3/4. Unless if it's late game, you can just morph it and unmorph at the same turn. Or if you just need a 3-drop, you can do that. But I wouldn't really count it as something that has +1/+1 counters. So Touch does, the 2 guides. Sentinels could. Sentinels makes me a little more interested in playing the Herd Chaser Dragon. We also have the Thunderbreak Regent. I mean, depending on how you count it, we could have as many as 10 cards that have +1/+1 counters, but a lot of them are just like Megamorphs that are really expensive, so by the time we get to them, being able to draw a card or give them Indestructible may not be too important. Like, it might be a little win more. And same thing with Sunbringer's Touch or Dromoka's Gift. Might be a little bit win more. We've got 16 creatures right now, plus the Ether. So that's 17. I think the Forerunners should be good with that high of a creature count. Could probably cut Tormenting Voice. And maybe something like Sunbringer's Touch. They just have enough things to take advantage of having creatures in play. Giving Trample to all creatures with +1/+1 counters until end of turn. I mean, I do have a lot of them. So I don't know, maybe that would have some amount of value in the late game. I could cut a Crush Hawk if I'm thinking that maybe just all these morph creatures can kind of be my top end. Try to move these over. So between all the 4s that I have, the couple 5s, and then these 6s, like I might still have stuff to do that I don't really need to play a 5/4 for 5. I'm trying to find some cuts. I guess this is at 22 right now. I don't need 18 lands, 17 should be fine. So options, Tormenting Voice. I'll check out Assault Formation in a second. Inspiring Call, Crush Hawk. So yeah, I don't think I want Assault Formation. I just have enough good playables, and it does downgrade a decent number of my creatures. It doesn't upgrade that much without having to dump mana into it. But like even if it just kept things relatively even, being able to dump 6 mana to give all your guys +2/+2 until end of turn is pretty strong. So it's something I would consider. I don't think you really need to build around it for it to be pretty good. Then Obscuring Ether is potentially another 2-drop is kind of fine. And we do have a good number of Megamorphs. The card works a little awkwardly. If you get it turn 1, you can Megamorph on turn 2, so that's kind of the hope. So that's pretty reasonable. So at 22 right now, let's put one more card in. I don't think we need the Inspiring Call. A lot of the counters we have would be a little bit win more to kind of require them to draw cards off of. But I think the card would still be playable in this deck. If we didn't have such good other options, then I think you could consider running it. All right. So, considering everything else, I could just put the Tormenting Voice in, so wherever I'm at in the game, I could use it to, if I get lands late, can draw me some gas. If I need to draw lands, I could use it, so that could be fine, or I could just play Crush Hawk. And, I'm gonna go with the Tormenting Voice. So we'll go 9/8, Forest to Mountains. A little more green for the Sentinels. We do have a lot of double green cards, but we do have a couple double red as well, so I wouldn't want to dip below 8 red sources. So I think 9/8's the best. So we'll submit, and I'll see you for round 1. Hi, this is the start of round 1. So play first. We want to be aggressive with this deck. We'll keep this. We can make Ether into a 2-drop, or we can Tormenting Voice to try to draw land. We do have Press the Advantage, Hunt the Weak. We might discard one of them to the Tormenting Voice, but this will reward us for curving out, getting out some decent creatures into play. Drawing a Megamorph would be really nice for turn 2. So we draw a land. So we can flip Ether, beat for 2, next turn Tormenting Voice. And for Tormenting Voice, the worst card currently is probably the Press the Advantage, but it could end up being good later. So I think I just want to crack in for 2, get some early damage in. And then we'll have something in play to Hunt the Weak. There's a Skeleton. So we'll beat for 2, and 2/2 guide would be pretty good. I mean, we want to draw land, but I think I'd rather just have a 2/2 in play than know when I'm going to draw land, considering I've got the Tormenting Voice. So, like, a 2/2 here does a lot more against a 1/1 Regenerator. So I'm just going to play this as a 2/2. I think going for Tormenting Voice is fine, but I think I just want to get some more decent creatures into play. And so I can take advantage of these spells, and then also get a little more information with my next card before I choose what to use. Before I choose what to discard a Tormenting Voice. So opponent goes for Monument. They're a bit slow, but it does let him regenerate for a turn. Heel Cutter. Yeah, let's just do that. You could Voice or something, try to set up, but Heel Cutter gets in an extra 5 damage. And I mean, opponent's going to be pretty low. They're going to have to consider a Heel Cutter for next turn, and then we've got Hunt the Weak, Press the Advantage. So this puts us pretty far ahead. Okay, Cloud Form. Okay, we've got land. So opponent has 2 up. There's some cards they could have instant speed, but not too many. We could just send both and use Press the Advantage. So our guys would say in play, opponent regenerates, we'd get 3. We get 5 damage, and they go to 4. We'd still have Heel Cutter. So that's a pretty good play. We could Heel Cut and attack, making River Prowler not block. Opponent trades with Heel Cutter. Goes to 5. I think Press the Advantage is probably the best play. That leaves us with the Heel Cutter left over. Opponent doesn't block with a Manifest. I guess we just pass here. Like, opponent probably needs to regenerate their guy, and that means they can't use the mana for something else. I mean, we don't have to press. Like, we could just have opponent take 2, go to 7. Press puts them pretty low. We could also just cast Heel Cutter and have press for next turn. We could Hunt the Weak to kill the skeleton. So this would be 3. This would be 7 damage. Opponent would go to 2. Then we get to Heel Cut, and they've got to stop a lot of our guys. Yeah, I think I go for Press Advantage. So if opponent taps out for some big creature or something, we can move with Heel Cutter. If they don't play much, we can just hold on to Heel Cutter and just maybe play Elkhart if we draw a land, or use Tormenting Voice to draw us some more gas. It's kind of risky to go for a Hunt the Weak if they leave mana up. Reducing stature. Drop Bowmasters. So if we Heel Cut, can't quite kill opponent. We trade a Heel Cutter for the Manifest, and they would have to jump with their Sage probably. And we could just play Bowmaster's Pass, and I think that's pretty good. Can't use Hunt the Weak that well this turn. They can regenerate the skeleton. We could use Hunt the Weak to kill a skeleton, like we could maybe attack with a guide, see what opponent does. But I'm just going to go for Bowmasters and pass. So as long as we're playing kind of a one-for-one game where we cast a game-winning threat, they play a defensive card, we cast a game-winning threat, they play defensive card, I think that's something that we should win. Like, the Elk Herd can get a bunch of damage in, Heel Cutter can force some damage through. So I feel like at some point opponent is going to run out, and we'll be able to push ahead. I just need to make sure that I don't get blown out when I go for Hunt the Weak or something like that. As long as I just keep putting things that aren't too important into play, I think this is going to work out pretty well for us. So let's go for the Elk Herd. We just pass. The opponent could have something under the manifest. They could also activate their monument, so we don't want to attack this turn. With them not doing anything, I feel like this basically isn't something that they'd want to flip, because they want to leave the mana up for monument in future turns and mana to regenerate. So, like, in other situations, maybe they're trying to ambush us and they're just going to wait until we make an attack and they ambush, but there's just about zero chance with the opponent having so much use for their mana. They would really want to take advantage of it here. Okay, Dramoka's Gift. Helps a little bit. Like, I mean, it does maybe give us a kill. We give everything trample, attack with everything. We can Dramoka's Gift on the Ether, and it'll get trample with the attack. So that's gonna be hard for opponent to beat. And I think opponent does have to like make their blocks first. So I think we'll have a bit of an advantage there. So I think this is going to work a good chunk of the time. So I think this is the play. And otherwise, you could just cast Heel Cutter, pass, and then go for it next turn. Let's see. Opponent activates Monument, block, block. Let's see. Block, 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 block. Like, they have to play something. So I think we're good. So I'm going to send everything. Okay, opponent activates Monument. I mean, could they survive with a negate? Sage would get bigger, so it's suck up all trample there. Monument on the Elk Herd. I think they could go to 1 if they have a negate, but since they're blocking like this, we're probably good. It looks like they are going to play a spell if they're blocking like this, unless if they forgot about the trample. Shouldn't really matter the order. Okay, we win. Cloudform creature was an island. Okay, so opponent's blue-black. Has some decent early defensive creatures. Some enchantments and artifacts. We haven't seen any spells. I guess a reduced in stature. I think Pinion Feast might be good. They've got the monument we can kill. They probably have some more flyers. Doesn't hit Cloudform though. And hitting monument's kind of difficult. It's not that difficult. By the time I have monument and activate it, they're basically up to 7 mana, so we should probably be able to leave at 5. So I mean,
one toughness stuff definitely gets worse. I don't know if we want to cut Scout. That Aspirant is still decent. I could see cutting Scout. We've got a few ways to pump it. It's good for formidable. But opponent does have that skeleton. They do have Jeskai Sage, and they might have a few other cards. So I could consider cutting it. Everything else looks pretty good. I think I want the Pinion Feast in. And I think I'm okay cutting the Scout. It's weird because 3-1 is still pretty nice, and sometimes you can dash it in. Or you can take advantage of some of the other cards that it's good with. But it might just sit and play getting stonewalled by Jeskai Sage for a while. So, and I think Pinion Feast can do a lot for the deck. I mean, we haven't seen too many flyers from opponent, but I feel like there's a pretty reasonable chance that their win conditions fly. Okay, this hand's pretty nice. Sunbringer's Touch could do quite a bit. Excuse me, I think we just make this a 2-2. Though getting a land would be nice. Still, I think it being a 2-2 helps out a decent amount. Because if we make it a 1-1, then we're definitely going to put the Sunbringers on it, because it's a bolster effect. So I think it being a 2-2 lets us put this wherever we want. And drawing a land, drawing a spell at this point is pretty okay. If we draw like a 5-drop, I'd be a little annoyed. And then if we draw another 4-drop, like maybe that would be bad, but in general I think drawing lands and spells is both fine. We're not in a big hurry to cast Sunbringer's Touch on turn 4, and I think just having this be a 2-2 makes it a decent chunk better. Means we could maybe heal, tail slash something immediately. It's kind of interesting, the Sunbringer's Touch putting extra counters on for every card in your hand, that normally you'd probably want to go for a Segmented Crotic on turn 3. If we draw a land, we might just want to go Heel Cutter, especially if the opponent has something that could block our guide. So we get more damage, and going for Heel Cutter just keeps an extra card in our hand. Opponent has Monument. Dragon Scarred Bear. Yeah, I think Bear is going to be better than going for Crotic. Or Heel Cutter. And, I mean, we didn't draw the land, so we don't know if we're going for touch next turn. Plus, either way, like, I'd like to have 2 creatures in play. I mean, I'm not going to go for touch if opponent has mana up, but I don't want to end up with no creatures in play and wanting to cast touch, so just keep stuff in play. Heel Cutter getting extra 3 damage, making touch maybe a little bit bigger is definitely not worth it. I mean, we can go for Heel Cutter, make Scholar not block. We can go for Sunbringer's Touch. Could give +4/+4 to one of these. They both get trample. If we Heel Cut, that's 6, 8 damage. Opponent goes to 10, and then next turn we go for touch. The annoying thing is that if we do make this attack, and I guess if we make this attack, maybe we want to leave back the guide, so we just go touch on Bear and then leave back guide. It would keep it out of flatten range. Opponent could maybe bounce it, but we don't want the Scholar to die. Opponent draws a bunch of cards, and then if they can do something to our Bear, we would be left with nothing in play. Assuming we just attack with everything, they trade Scholar for guide. So this ends up a little close if we want to go for the Heel Cutter or for touch. Opponent not knowing about Heel Cutter is kind of cool, so I think I'm going to go for touch here. I mean, if I go for Heel Cutter here next turn, I guess the touch is for a little bit more. So that's kind of cool. But, damage-wise, I'm getting in 7 compared to 8. But the next turn I can make opponent not block with Heel Cutter and get the extra damage from the touch. Alright, I'm going to go with touch. Actually, I didn't really consider me. You can put it on the guide, leave back the bear, just so you'd split them up a little bit. The bear would be able to use formidable at that point, but I'm going to put it on the bear. If opponent doesn't kill it immediately, it's going to be able to regenerate. And I get an extra damage in this turn. Okay, opponent blocks a Scholar. That's probably a good sign. If he had an immediate answer, he's more likely to leave Scholar back to hold off the guide. Okay, Reach the Shadows. Ooh, Thunderbreak Regent. Otherwise I'd go with Crotic, leave Heel Cutter in hand, I think. So, had we... Well, I mean, I guess opponent did draw a bunch of cards off the Scholars, so we don't necessarily know if opponent had land plus Reach of Shadows. But had we gone for Heel Cutter, if they just left up 5 mana, our next turn probably would have been a bit awkward. So if we go for Heel Cutter, they'd kill it. If we go for Sunbringer's Touch, they'd kill it. So that might have worked out better. So opponent has a dragon. If we draw land, we can kill their dragon. And that would hurt opponent quite a bit. You get Heel Cutter for a lot of damage as well, but let's just kill the dragon. And make our guy a 4/4, attack for 8. Now opponent, if they target the regent, they're dead. So that's what I was saying with the Pinion Feast, that, you know, even though we didn't really see many flyers, opponent's blue-black, and those decks need finishers, and a lot of times those finishers are going to be flyers. So, and they just happen to have one of the best ones they could have. So, I mean, it should be it. Opponent could play a flying blocker, but that's all I can think of. I'm going to take 3 if they target the regent. Guess I'll dash Heel Cutter, but shouldn't really matter. Alright. See you in round 2. Okay, so this is the start of round 2. And yeah, I don't think I can keep this hand. I've got 8 red sources, I'm on the play. If I draw a mountain in 2 turns, the hand is very strong. But on average it's going to take more like 3 to 4 turns. So if I miss a drop and then start playing some weak creatures, opponent could be a decent chunk ahead. So I feel like I have to mulligan it. Keeping is not the worst thing in the world. Like, you're going to get lucky a decent chunk of the time, and this hand's going to run people over, but I think my deck's pretty strong, so I don't think I need to try to get lucky, really. If I can just get a hand that can cast spells I think I'd prefer it, so I'm going to go to 6. And this hand is weaker. With a land we can roast something, but then we're extremely far off of anything else, so we're going to have to go to 5. Okay. Not a bad 5. Oof. Not looking quite as good. Well, could dash in the scout, put some pressure on opponent to trade with it. I can play it and just let these sit back for a while. I could take a hit and try again for 3. But I don't think there's any reason to race right now because it's going to be hard for me to finish my opponent off when I'm down 2 cards. I think I just cast this, and hopefully we just stay stable for a little while. Because I have the press advantage, like I'm not sure that I want to actually trade these off so quickly. Opponent attacks. This suggests they probably have a follow-up play, maybe a 2-2. So I'm probably not going to be able to just slam back in for another 3. And maybe I could use press advantage on this somehow to make this an okay trade, but probably going to take a good chunk of damage from this. And the next thing that my opponent plays, I mean, it's just going to be hard for me to use press advantage, I think, to make this work. Opponents, like, I'm just going to be so far behind, like, to have time to leave this untapped. An opponent can't have any trick in response is unlikely to happen, so I think I'm just going to block here. Just keep my life total as high as possible this early. And opponent doesn't have a follow-up play. Kind of surprised by that. You'd think that they would rather sit back and trade than attack there and trade 2 damage for 3. Ooh, good draw. Definitely the best card in the deck. Can't put on as champion, which means we can't really race here. We've got to sit back. There's enough pump spells, sandblast type effects that even with a press advantage, there's a decent chance that opponent could take out her dragon in combat, but I would block anyway. Okay, they're not trying anything. Aspirant's a pretty good draw. Lets us leave a press advantage we could use to pump both our creatures. I'm not yet going to be attacking. We'll see what opponent's Megamorph might be. Dromica. So, probably going to get that Phoenix Pinion in. That's just about game at this point. Tail Slash can't do it. Hunt the Weak. Not quite. Need to go press into Hunt the Weak. But I guess I'll just sit back and take a bunch of hits. I'll look at the deck for a second, because I don't want to show the pressy advantage if I don't have to. Like, if the opponent makes a big attack and plays some tricks, and I could do something good with pressy advantage, but I would still lose to the Dragon Lord, I might just concede instead. So what do we have? Bowmasters, Hunt the Weak. I guess I can hold lands in hand for Sunbringer's Touch. I probably should have been doing that. And Tormenting Voice, Hurry Chase the Dragon. So we don't have any great outs to it, but like we do have potential ways to win. If we draw like another creature that can block, we can put them both in front of the Dragon Lord, but any of those can be beat by opponent having some kind of trick. And even if we finish it off, opponent still has a good board position and is going to have a bunch of life. Guess I'll morph this. I mean, we're showing our opponent a morph, which isn't great. So I could just concede there, but I'll play it out a little bit. Opponent has Sunstriker. So could trade Regent for it. But then I guess I could like Tail slash Crotic maybe after I flipped it. Opponent has a Tactician. It's another flyer. So at this point I think I have no outs, so I'm not going to show any more cards. They flip Counter and Lightwalker. So I can probably concede here. Or okay, I'll wait a second. I'll see if I draw Tail Slash. Depending on how opponent attacks, like maybe they are a little conservative here, just attack with the Dragon Lord. I can't play any spells, so Sunstriker's a pretty good attack here. Opponent decides to go all in. So let's put that there. Put that there. This seems right. Can't use the press advantage because opponent's Dragon Lord ability. And we can concede now. So opponent's bolstery, they've got a Sunstriker, a lot of flyers, so the pinion's going to be pretty strong. Did I call it Phoenix Pinion? It's a Final Fantasy item. So we get Pinion in. I don't think we want the Vials. That's about all I can think of. So for cuts, maybe Tormenting Voice, though it could help us find some removal. Sunbringer's Touch might be okay. Could cut the Scout. They've got a lot of weenies. I think I'll cut Scout. So play first. Yeah, this hand's pretty cool. If opponent doesn't have an answer to the touched up bear, probably gonna win. It's going to be a 7/6. We can back it up with Heel Cutter, Tail Slash. Could also Heel Cut first, and then go for it the next turn. So it makes it an 8/7. Should let it regen by itself. It's kind of cool. So let's think about that. Opponent will have 4 mana up. Yeah, I think I'm just going to touch now. If I go for Heel Cutter, I can leave a regen mana on my turn, so opponent goes for, I guess I can't have anything on their turn, but basically I'll be able to regenerate on my turn, which is kind of cool. But it's going to be slightly smaller, and that shouldn't matter too much, because I can regenerate. It's the same decision I had that last game, where Heel Cutter touch, and it's very close either way both times. It's gonna be an 8/7. Opponent might leave back all their creatures if I show them Heel Cutter. So I might not even be able to attack with the bear next turn. Wouldn't be able to regenerate. So I'm just going to go for this now. If opponent's on a playing Dromoka plan, I should be able to beat it pretty easily. I mean, I think they pretty much need to have removal for the bear, because I'm way ahead on clock, and I've got Tail Slash to just kill Dromoka. Okay, it's a champion. Draw its running voice, so we can voice here. Heel cut. I could also Tail Slash. Opponent's on 4. What do you think about this? If I Tail Slash, kill a champion, opponent goes to 6, and then like the next turn I could heel cut. I mean, it permanently deals with the champion, so they can't say just keep swinging back for 3 or pump it, play a blocker, start chumping, and keep attacking. Then they wouldn't know about the heel cutter, which is also kind of nice. They just leave one creature back next turn, they die. Means I don't immediately have an answer to Dromoka, but they're just on 4 lands. I'm going to just keep swinging, and I've got the heel cutter, so I think I can beat that. So I'm going to Tail Slash. I guess if I draw a land, then going for heel cutter is pretty strong, but I'm just going to slash, attack for 7. Opponent might just play one creature, attack with both Lightwalkers, and die to heel cutter. They might leave one Lightwalker back, play another creature, especially if their second creature is a big one, because they would still want to be trading the Lightwalker. They'd still want to be chumping with the Lightwalker, and it would make sure they don't lose to some kind of removal. Okay, Tactician. So we're probably going to put a counter on one Lightwalker and attack with that one, leave back the other Lightwalker to chump the dragon for a turn. Though we could go for Elk Herd, and that should win even through Dromoka. Mtgo heel cut guide. So heel cutter, make the light walker not block, attack with both. Opponent chumps with tactician, they go to 3. So we'd have 2 lethal creatures for next turn. But playing a 5/5, them not knowing about heel cutter is also pretty strong. And giving trample to the bear is pretty nice. So, yeah, let's do that. Just play the 5/5 after attacking. Shouldn't be a reason to play land. I guess we could regenerate, play guide and heel cutter. I don't think that's going to come up. We would also need to draw land next turn, so that's just a ton of things that have to happen. And I guess we have used touch and voice already, so I should just play the land. I was thinking we've got a couple cards in our deck, but we've already used both of them, so I guess there's no reason not to play land there. I mean, you could keep something to bluff later on, but in that sense, like, we have heel cutters, so I'd rather my opponent think I have nothing than have a lot of cards in hand and have them play a bit more conservatively. Okay, opponent just passes Thunderbreak. That's a good one. Let's see, if we go for heel cutter, like, what could opponent have? There's like Winds of Calcisma, kind of weird stuff, like fog effects, but probably unlikely. The destroy target creature bolster is more likely. If I go for heel cutter, attack with everything, this can't block, everything gets trample, opponent kills 1, and a trample over for lethal. So I think I can just go for a heel cutter here. I can't think of anything. Some kind of like pump plus lifelink. Going for region is extremely safe as well, but I feel like heel cutter is just gonna give me the win anyway. This gives my opponent one less draw. I could play like a land and a channel harm might be good, so yeah, I just can't think of anything they could have here. I guess a pressure point? That's about all I can think of. Okay, so on to game 3. Don't want to change anything. Kind of seeing the same stuff from them. Yeah, I think I just run it back. Okay, we've got an Aspirant and 6 lands. And we're in the draw. Yeah, I just don't think this is good enough to keep. It's just too easy to flood out from this point. So, you know, having a 2-drop is nice, but I think like we got to do a lot of trading against our opponent's deck, so I don't think this is good enough. Well, it's not good, so we got to go to 5 again. Yeah, I mean, force for this just not sufficient. And got to keep this. Not the worst as far as being on the draw. With the land, we're looking okay. And we got a land, so could definitely be worse going to 5. And there's an Echoes of the Treekin. So card can be a little slow. Scale Guard Sentinels. So we could go Guide, search for a mountain. Then we could play Bear, then maybe 2 things in a turn. We go Sentinels, get in there, maybe draw a land, go for Bear, that'd be pretty good. And if we miss, we go Guide for Mountain. So kinda is like, you know, what point do we want to start beating down? Do we want to just start now? And, you know, maybe we get a mountain, we don't even have to use Guide for land at some point. Because a 1/1 might not be useful. Opponent will be able to bolster. And then, you know, if we draw a dragon, we've only got 2. You know, we could play Sentinels as 3/4, but if we go Guide for land, then the next turn we play Bear. Like, we don't get that much time before, like, we don't have that many draws to draw a dragon, so I think I'm just going to go for Sentinels. Hope we get a little lucky drawing a land next turn. If we don't, we Guide for a land. And having the 2/3 out for an extra turn means that we don't lose too much like tempo compared to just going for Guide first and accepting that we're going to, you know, lose a turn. So opponent has a warrior. So now our 1/1 looks decent. They can maybe bolster, but they're stuck on 2 mana. And they went for echoes and they played warriors. So we could trade Scale Guard off, Scale Sentinels off here. I mean, it does mean opponent has no creatures. They can't use their echoes. And they can't use any kind of pump spells or something. That's kind of close. I mean, having Sentinels in play maybe makes Bear closer to formidable. And we can also maybe heal cut to get through. I think I'm going to Guide for a mountain and just pass. I don't know, I'm still kind of tempted to send Scale Guard. Kind of forces trade. Opponent might be able to trade these off eventually. Might open up Guide to attacking for 1. But guess I might just pass. Not quite sure what to do there. Okay, opponent misses a land drop, passes to us. So I think we can send in the Guide, maybe both. But I mean, if we can heal cut, get an extra 2 damage off Sentinels, that could be good. The extra 2 power means Dragon's Guard Bear is going to start becoming good. So I don't think I want to trade off yet, so I think I just send the Guide. With Bear, now we're quite ahead of opponent, so they got to draw land like right now, play something good right now. Otherwise, we're gonna be really far ahead, and they just pass. So this is looking incredibly good. We can play Aspirant and attack with both of these, leave up Regeneration. We can even get both of them in. I think that'll probably work better than just going for a heal cut here. I mean, we could Tormenting Voice, but we don't really have anything to discard yet. So yeah, maybe we want a heal cut. Opponent could also have a Surge of like destroy target red creature, and gain 2 life, target attacking creature. We'd still get opponent to not be able to block with warrior this turn, but that would actually be pretty punishing, especially since the opponent might even just discard next turn. So I kind of like just going for Aspirant, and maybe it's time to just send everything in. Makes the heal cutter a little bit better. They play 1 creature, we can heal cut it. So let's do that. everything. Guess it could have, like, what's it, center soul, potentially. That'd be about the worst thing. Okay, pass the turn. So they've got their land, but they're very far behind right now. They don't have time to just sit back on the surge. So next turn we can probably heel cut, get in for 9. Opponent goes to 6. Well, Outcast is pretty good, because they can at least block one thing. We draw a Crotic. Spirant's getting in regardless, and I mean the guide's coming in because I don't mind trading with either one of these, I think. So we could, I think casting Heel Cutter would be kind of cool. We could just morph the Crotic, so we attack with Aspirant. We could also morph Heel Cutter, attack with everything, make Outcast not block. Opponent probably blocks the guide, so they would take 8, go to 7. They would know about our Heel Cutter, they would just have one creature in play. And if they play another creature, we'd make it not block. They would take 5, go to 2. So, which is still looking pretty good. So, kind of close. I think I'm gonna go with the Heel Cutter. I think we just get in enough extra damage. The Crotic doesn't actually turn into a bunch of extra damage. Going for it first and then go for Heel Cutter just gets us a little bit. So, I mean, the bad news of this is opponent now knows that we have Heel Cutter, so he gets to play around it in future turns. But yeah, he's stuck on 3 mana. Like, there's not too much opponent can do to play around it. That would be different from what they would do anyway, which is probably just leave all their creatures back every turn to make sure they don't die. But this does put opponent at just like a lot less life, guaranteed. Maybe we can get up to 6 and just cast Crotic as a 6/5. Where it's going to be a lot more powerful than morphing it and hoping to get up to 7, which is just, it's not going to happen with Tormenting Voice. The first land we draw, we might just pitch to it. And opponent does not block, so it takes an extra 1 damage, and we get to keep an extra creature in play. It's kind of interesting. I mean, the Spirit could be used to chump on a future turn, and maybe prevent more damage than the one they would have prevented here, but the guide is still kind of a relevant threat at the moment. Opponent's just at 6. So, kind of thought that they would just trade off there. But opponent gets to 4 mana. They could play something like Champion of Erishin. If they have that Surge spell, they're probably going to want to save it up this turn, leave it up this turn, expect me to go for Heel Cutter. Now, if they do just pass with all that mana up, I think I just go for Crotic, something else, and not expose my Heel Cutter, force them to leave the mana up. Because we did see a Surge in the draft, and with opponents stuck with a bunch of cards in hand on 2 mana just sitting there, like, it is a kind of card that they could have. So, opponent plays Champion. That's not bad. Could get a little risky just going for a Tormenting Voice here, discarding the Crotic. Hope to draw land. We could go for Heel Cut, make Champion not block, attack with everything, so opponent gets to block Heel Cutter and the Bear and go to 3, but they still have the Champion in play. We could make Outcast not block, so we at least trade off with the Champion, but opponent would gain some life. But I think I want to go for this voice play. because being able to get rid of this, get the extra land, get the 5/5 into play seems pretty important. So, yep, let's do that. If we draw 2 spells, it's not the worst thing in the world. So, Hunt the Weak. Let's go for Heel Cutter. But we do have to decide. We got 8 minutes on the clock, should be plenty of time. We do have to decide which one we want to not block. Because Champion can swing back. Maybe opponent could pump it. Should be a little scary. And assuming opponent's just trading with the Heel Cutter anyway, we might just rather kill the Outcast. Though if we attack with all, opponent could put the Champion on the Guide, gain 3 life, put Spirit on the 3/2, and then attack back with Champion the next turn. So if we do want opponent to trade with the Champion here, we might not be able to attack with the Guide. So possibly we just want to let opponent trade off the Outcast, but that does mean that, I mean, I guess they can attack with the Champion and then we can maybe win the next turn, or they could just leave the Champion back for the future turn. So where are we at? I think I'm gonna make the Champion not block. So Heel Cutter trades for Outcast. Opponent puts Spirits, either a chump or trades with Guide, goes down pretty low. And then we have Hunt the Weak Elk. So I think this is right. You could also make the Outcast not block and not send the Guide. I think that's also fine. So that way you almost guarantee that your opponent's trading off the Champion here, which is a better trade, but it does give your opponent the life currently. So they might have to attack back or something to get the life on a future turn. But it also protects against opponent like going for Dromica's Gift on their Champion. I mean, they can use, they might be able to use Echoes to, you know, make it a little bit bigger, but that shouldn't be fast enough. So let's see what's up. Whoa, opponent has Battle Mastery. So double strike. So we can put opponent to 3, play a 5/5, and maybe go for Hunt the Weak the next turn, but that's a little risky. So we can just Hunt the Weak, put opponent to 4. The problem is opponent does gain life off Champion, but then we can play a 5/5 the turn after, so maybe that's okay. But if opponent plays a big pump spell on the Champion when it has double strike, that could cause some major problems. On the other hand, we don't have to lose a creature. Like if we go for Hunt the Weak here, opponent goes up to, like, we have to lose whatever we play it on. So we play in the Guide, attack for 5, opponent gains 3. So opponent would go to 7. We'd have Bear and an Aspirant against opponent's empty board, and then we could go for Elk Herd. Actually, we get to attack for more than that. We get an extra damage in because we get to attack first, and then we go for Hunt the Weak. So that might be fine. Or we go for Elk Herd. Opponent can maybe smash in with Champion, maybe pumps it. Like, could get out of hand. So I think we just go for the Hunt the Weak here. Kind of play it safe. Okay, opponent has a land. If they play a Dromica, we could be in trouble on turn 6. They might just play their 2/3 flyer bolster here, which could hold back both of our attackers. So still potentially a close game. So they have Sunstriker leaving up double green. Wild Call. Okay. So that potentially does block and trade with both of our creatures. Ooh, Sunbringer's Touch. So pump the Aspirant to a 4/3, trample for a turn. That would deal damage to a creature that blocks it. So basically it'd just be like opponent takes 4. It can't really make an effective block because it's going to trample over for more. So opponent would go to 2. Then we'd have a 4/3 for next turn, but I think we just go for Elk Herd. Actually, we might want to force this trade. Ask the Aspirant on Manifest, then we can put the touch on the bear next turn. It might be better. I guess it's just a random 2/2. Yeah. Should I do that? I don't think I need to do that. Let's go for Elk Herd. Well, I don't know. I guess maybe I do want to put it on the Dragon Scarred Bear. This can currently regenerate, but opponent could maybe bolster onto this to block. Yeah, let's just send it. So opponent does just sit back and bolster for a turn. Even if I can regenerate, the bear could be taken out by the Sunstriker. Oh yes, Dromica. It's not good. Not a good thing. I think I can maybe just send Elk Herd and like maybe opponent takes it. Like I might be able to win if opponent does take it, or they like chump with the Sunstriker. Opponent blocks, I'm basically dead. Where like I might be able to win if I don't go for it here. Like I draw the Phoenix card or the Pinion. I think it's believable enough. I mean, that is trample though. That's the problem. It's like opponent can't really believe me there. Like he kind of has to just go for it. Oh, I guess I can play this, play land, attack. No, I can't really attack with both. Doesn't do anything. I guess I'll just play the Crow-Tick and pass. I mean, sometimes you got to play for the win, but the thing is, like, because the Elk Herd's going to trample, like it's really hard for my opponent to just take the damage. Like, he can't just chump with the Sunstriker. He kind of has to just jam with his... He kind of just has to block with Dragon Lord, and that's really bad for me if he does. I do have a lot of large trampling creatures. Like, it's possible I can beat the Dromica without just immediately killing it, but it could be hard. If opponent has more pump, I mean, they've got the Echoes, so they can start doing some cool stuff. But gotta find something here. Is opponent attacking with Dragon Lord, just gonna hold it back. Okay, didn't draw it there. I think I just keep passing. Opponent has Trasher Point, okay. It's not great. It's possible I should go for Sunbringer's Touch there, because the opponent can attack with the champion and, like, use Echoes. Oh, actually, Echoes can't target the champion yet. It has to target the Sunstriker. Skill General. Definitely some incentive to go for an attack, but they just pass. They get to Echoes, make this a 2-2 and a turn. Nope. So I can make this a 5-4. This doesn't really do anything. Let's keep passing. Opponent's probably going to start jamming next turn. I mean, they can kill me in 2 turns. It seems kind of hard for them to think that they're dying when they're gaining at least 5 life, and then if champion is able to block maybe some more, they're going to be 11. They have a little bit of blocking. But I guess if they just keep passing, they think they're getting even more safe. But if I can kill his Dragon Lord, like, I think I'm looking pretty good. The Sunstriker is going to kill me pretty quickly, though. May not guide. This makes this a 6-5. I guess on a turn I can start swinging with it. So I guess I'll just wait, but not looking great. So opponent can put one on the champion, put it on the Sunstriker. Next turn they can pump the Sunstriker again. But it's going to take like 2 turns of hits, I think. This is going to be 8, 13. They can get me to 1 with bolsters this turn. I mean, Dragon Lord attacking is pretty bad news for me. So opponent's going to go up to 11. So, like, I had a lot of decisions in this game. I mean, with the opponent drawing the Dromica, like getting the Dromica out the turn they did, I feel like there probably wasn't anything that could have finished the opponent earlier. Like the turn that they played Battle Mastery on their champion, that was kind of weird. So maybe could have gone a little ahead there. And yeah, I mean, this is basically just game. I could maybe hold out and not cast anything here, but just think opponent's killing me. They're at 11. They gain some life. Got a bunch of attacking creatures with trample. Yeah, send everything. 4/4 double strike. Gain some life off champion. I guess I should have played a land there. That was a mistake. I can maybe represent some more stuff. So the opponent can bolster twice, so the champion can take out my Crotic, and they'll take 2 and gain 3. So I mean they're all going to gain 3 life from the champion fighting the Crotic, and then I'm going to have another 12 damage and trample. So opponent's going to be at 14, and I have 12 coming at them. And blocking with the generals, kind of a chump there, just make sure they don't die to something. So this looks pretty good. If they're just bolstering, unless am I dying to the Sunstriker? Probably actually. Oh, they have something here. That's not good. So Sunstriker, if they just kill the rest of the creatures, their echoes can pump the Sunstriker up to kill. So during victory. So I can regenerate, but I just die. So yeah, I think that's just about game. I can't even rep anything on opponent's turn because of the Dragon Lord. So yep, I'll do it. So some good games. The double mold of 5 hurt. I had a lot of tough choices in that last game that were all pretty close, and I don't know, maybe there was a line that could have beat opponent a little quicker, but they all seem very close, so I can't think of anything that was an awful mistake. So hope you learned something from that. Green-red, pretty nice archetype. Heel cutters are good, lots of big creatures, and yeah. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.